Thanks for joining us today. My name is Aparna Singh. I'm from Kratikal, an operation lead over there. So, a firm dedicated to providing a cybersecurity solutions to various industries and professionals working in different spheres of environment. Joining us today is Ashish Gupta, CTO CPO and ProgCap, a mission-driven financing technology firm. He has been involved with multiple companies and worked in multiple executive roles. He is now helping millions of micro and small enterprises, providing them affordable, customized finance, digitizing their supply chains. Hello, Ashish. So, before directly jumping into all the important technical discussion, I just wanted to have an idea of your business you are currently working in.
Hey Aparna, my pleasure at joining. Thank you so much for having me here. So essentially ProgCap is what is now known as smart lending vertical. Essentially, if you look at how the ecosystem has evolved, traditional lending was always against a collateral. As the world has changed with multiple things happening, world going digital, GST coming in, UPI coming in, people wanting to do more and more with their data, what has happened is data itself has become a collateral, and it's become a far more powerful collateral than any other that exists in the world. And that is where firms like ProgCap are leveraging their technological and analytical skills to do underwriting and loan disbursement based on data, rather than doing it on a collateral. So what we do is we get into the supply chain partners, we take their data from their ERPs, we have our algorithms running that determine whether a partner is eligible for a loan credit line or not. And once that happens, we provide that credit line and the credit system.
That's great. So, what will you take on the fact that largest industry like Fintech is attracting 20% of all major investment in the regions, especially like South Africa, India, East Asia? How are you going to compete on the international stage, given the growing competition among all such nations?
No, it's a fascinating world. Look, as I said, that the entire world has changed. From collateral based, we've now become data oriented, and the moment any industry changes dramatically, obviously it will attract the best of investment because the traditional model is there to completely get disrupted. So that's what we are excited about. Competition, well, I think there's going to be plenty of competition. Sure. The good part about this product is that once you solve the issues and once you get your tech and analytics right, this is a global problem to be solved. It is not a India-centric problem. So the market is infinite. How well we do, obviously time will tell. But our focus has been to build really, really robust data engines, ensure that we ingest the data from our partners through their ERP. So we are one of the very few firms who are integrated with most ERPs and are getting the data in an automated manner. And you'll remember, if you've ever taken a personal loan or any car loan, home loan, even for yourself, you'll know how many pieces of paper you have to sign, your bank statements, your salary slips. We've moved beyond that. We've actually gone in with our partners and said that, look, let's connect to your system. We'll get the data automatically. We will analyze it automatically, send it back. And I think as we move on, amongst other things, that's going to be a key differentiator. And we are hoping that will be a global problem that we can solve.
Well said and well done, actually. So it is predicted that the cost of cyber attacks would rise to $10.5 trillion by 2025. And Fintech, of course, is a top business targeted by cyber criminals due to obviously the access to the vast amount of client data, right? So what techniques have you used to mitigate the same kind of risks?
Yeah, so for us, it's a very, very important thing to address. And I'll tell you why. It's not just about the quantum of data we have. Right. So if you look at an e-commerce company or you look at a food tech company, they probably have 100x the data we have in terms of customers, right? But the profiling of data is not that different, right? Let's take the example of any food tech industry. People order. Like they'll order basis how hungry they are.
Sure.
Not really, just by seeing their order, you wouldn't be able to make out their economic profile or, a lot about them. Right. Whereas when you look at our data is into the transactions of each of our customers. These are huge transactions, right? And therefore, the importance of securing data is very, very critical. I personally divide this into three different legs. The first leg is being able to work with our partners, which is just creating business. So we have all of our standards in terms of ISO certification, for which we partnered with Kratikal to go live. We have other documented audit processes. There are a few from the regulators as well. This ensures that we are able to showcase a secure front and everybody trusts us with their data. That is level 1. Level 2 is actually getting deeper than what regulations say, because regulations still tend to be reactive rather than very futuristic when it comes to security.
Right.
And regulations also have to take care of every kind of users. Now, obviously, we are digital native. We don't have a lot of problems that traditional companies have. So our aspirations around security are much higher. So the second leg is, how do we go beyond regulations and ISO certifications, things like database encryptions, things like, almost maintaining a HIPAA kind of compliance levels. So that to me is true security. So first was proving that we are secure. Second is true security. And obviously the third is business continuity. Should a false event happen, should something go wrong, how do we actually prevent our businesses from getting impacted? While that will be a PR nightmare for us and we'll always be very worried about the data going out, the business should continue. So the third level is ensuring that we have enough backups, automated reboot processes in place, which ensures that if something like this happens, the continuity is maintained.
Understood. So, see, it is constantly necessary to update and modify numerous laws and regulations that India has put in place to promote the fintech industry. Frequently changing policies might make it difficult for business to control their cost. How do you stay up to date about these updates, and what's the impact of these ever-changing regulation on your company?
Yeah, I think that's an easy one. In today's digital world, there is no regulation or change that comes in that doesn't get discussed around 1,000 WhatsApp groups,
True.
emails, messages. So I think keeping updated is not such a big problem at all. We obviously have a dedicated team here who looks at that. But I think everybody is completely aware of what's happening all the time with this social media business happening. I think the bigger one is to anticipate requirements, because by the time the regulation comes in, your reaction times are so small that it may be very, very disruptive to customer experience, to business, and even the existence of a business, as is happening with let's say the credit card, the new credit cards these days. So I think for us the biggest trick is keeping a very, very flexible system, but also anticipating. And this is where what I said about true security comes in, because the regulations on security will move more and more towards true security. And if you've already anticipated the security needs, then it is much easier to preempt regulations, which I think is the big trick. Now this isn't too tricky, because if you look at fintech, it is somewhere in the middle when it comes to data security. If you look at something like healthcare, they are at the top of the helm, especially if you look at Western markets, as to how the PII compliance works there. So if you look at industries that are ahead of you and you benchmark yourself against them, you suddenly come up with a really easy list of things to do that actually keeps you ahead of the curve in your industry. And I think that's the philosophy we clearly follow.
True. Understood. So the majority of business put together to go market or features ahead of security and privacy goals, it may delay launches by a few weeks when security is listed as a core necessity in your roadmap. But doing so will pay off greatly in the long run. How accurate do you think this statement is, as per your?
No, so I to be honest, disagree with the fact that security comes in the way of speed.
Right.
I think all of these are mindsets, and if you look at, I'll take another parallel. Earlier they used to say performance comes in the way of speed, that if you have to make high quality code that performs at scale, you will actually be slower in writing code. That's not true actually, because if you write a code that's not compliant, it goes live. Now to modify the code is much slower than building good quality code in the first place. So I actually completely disagree that security slows down your process. I think what is needed is an investment where every developer, every person in the process, including some of your business folks who need those features, understand that this is critical, and therefore there's a balance between short term and long term. So I don't think it is faster or slower. It is more short term versus long term. If you think it through and make it properly, you will be faster in the long term, maybe slightly shorter in the slower term, but we are all here in the long term game. So I think it's more about training, educating, and making it a habit. Now most of our developers, when they build, even on performance, even on security, have that in their mind that what goes out cannot be insecure, because if during the audit insecurities are found, then it comes back on their head. And imagine a case in which I've built a piece of code. Now somebody after 6 months says that, look, these are the 10 insecurities. I have even forgotten what I wrote.
Sure.
So the whole effort into now correcting that is about 10x. And now the feature is live, so you cannot even take a risk. If it breaks, customers will be, not happy. So I think it's much faster just to think of security from day zero than it is to think of it later.
Great way to look at it, actually. So in your current role, you want to empower small and medium-sized businesses by using digital solutions that are geared at the retail market. How flexible do you think your business strategies are with regards to the security of digital platforms?
So look, again, I think there's not even a question around security because it's not a matter of flexibility. It's just a cost of doing business, right? Like if you have to work, you have to at least open your laptop, whether at home or office. Earlier they used to say you have to come to office. Now you can open it anywhere. But for us, security is in that domain. So I don't think it's a matter of prioritizing one over the other.
Yeah.
The good part is the entire organization understands that it's a ticket to play. I think one of the things I'll often mention, and this isn't something that you'll hear often, is that I think people talk about a lot of progress in the country. One of the areas I think we've truly made the most progress is in the quality of regulations and regulators we have. And I know regulators get a lot of flack for their policies. I am actually one of the rare people who are actually very pro regulators, in the sense that I've seen the evolution of how regulators have changed over the last 7-8 years. I was in InsurTech before this. I mean, people used to take 3 months to approve a product. Now lately the approval comes within a few weeks. During COVID period, we saw approvals in days. Right. Now you see in certain places they're opening up the market. So I think the regulators are today some of the smartest people in the country who really have a deep understanding. And I think as they move on, I really feel that it'll be proactive as long as you're not trying to bypass the system. I mean, I heard one chairman once say, look, things have to be done with not only the letter of the law, but also the spirit of the law. And often I think, as in our economy, there are far too many times when we try to use the letter of the law and bypass the spirit, and that eventually catches up with a lot of folks. And I think as long as you don't do that, you preempt the spirit and build in the right manner, I think the regulators really support you well.
That's great. So what is your take on the significant legislation which deals with the subject of data protection in India, that are IT Act 2000 and Aadhaar Card Act 2016, especially Section 43A, that provides reasonable security practices and procedures need to be maintained by each body corporate, given that it helps customers manage their finance, conduct business and obtain credit?
So look, I won't specifically talk about the acts. Maybe I'm not the right person. I'm not that detailed. But I'll tell you the principle. The principle is very, very simple. That whenever you build again, I talked about the long term versus the short term. Whenever you build a secure business, your long term more valuable. But in the short term, you have to take a few compromises, both on cost as well as timelines. And I think this one is critical, because in the absence of any regulation, what tends to happen is somebody may bypass that system and get a short-term gain that then disrupts the market. So I think I'm all for things being transparent. As long as there is transparency, consistency and a direction, you're great. The challenge that happens is, as we've seen with the telecom industry, when you start doing things retrospectively, like a retrospective tax, that is a killer, because that does not do anybody any good. It only brings nervousness in the market. So as long as the direction is correct, that we need to be more and more secure, we need to protect the customer's data, the control over customers' data is customers and not ours. Like, I mean, we've all been there. We've all taken a personal loan or a home loan or a car loan, and suddenly over the next month being inundated by other providers, the data just keeps flowing in and out. That can't happen. So I think all of these regulations ensure there's a level playing field and also protect the customer. So yeah, all for it.
So
I'm glad.
It's well said that since everybody is not rowing in the same direction on this, I assume it's hard to achieve a real cybersecurity at the end of the day. But thanks to you, Ashish, for being here with us today and providing us with such valuable information. It was a pleasure speaking with you.
My
Truly our
pleasure,
pleasure
absolutely.
speaking with you.
My pleasure, absolutely. Thank you so much for
Ashish.
having me.
Thank you so much.